You're 3 years into the business?
Yes, this will be my third full year into
Third full year in the business. And how many transactions will you close this year?
I'll do 185 this year, with 180 of them being on the listing side.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, 185 at 26 years old.
Right. And I would say 180 of them will be on the listing side. The only buyer deals I'm doing are buyer deals where I sold their listing and they're buying something else from me. I'm not working one other buyer lead other than that. Right.
That is awesome, my man. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Adrian, and I'm pumped up for today. Today I have a very, very special guest with us, and that is Mr. Kevin Mills. Kevin Mills, please introduce yourself.
Dan, thanks for having me. Yeah, Kevin Mills. I'm working in the Myrtle Beach market, Century 21, the Harrelson Group, and third year in the business this year, and excited to share, excited to be a part of this. Thanks for having me, Adrian.
I love that, my man. I love that. And so with that, I wanted to start off the interviews with something big. As you know, I created this vlog, and so we're getting a lot of momentum on it. But I was like, look, I want to interview a young agent that's crushing it. You're the first person that came to mind. You're the only one I know out there that's like doing it. So, I mean, tell me, man, how did you get started in the industry?
Yeah, so got started. I was in car sales for about 3 months coming out of college. Got a job really fast coming out of college, and that was the first thing kind of hiring. I was tired of people rejecting my product. I thought it was really hard for people to reject me, so I wanted to get into real estate. Because I didn't want people to reject my product anymore. I wanted to give them the opportunity to accept me or reject me instead of the product. So lucky enough, I just Googled Myrtle Beach real estate and the top agents, and I'm lucky enough to have Greg Harrelson in my market, which a lot of people might know, a lot of people might not know. But is a great owner, a great mentor, a great coach, and I have an owner of the company who, I mean, in the height of it was doing 450 deals a year. And he was doing that for 8 years in a row. So it's not like he had a couple of years, and he wasn't doing foreclosures or anything like that. I mean, he was just doing residential resale, condos, I mean, just straight sales. So lucky enough to have him on this side too.
For those that don't know Greg Harrelson, whom is the man, the myth, the legend?
Yeah. The man. So, I mean, Greg's an awesome coach. He's an awesome mentor. He's the owner of the company. Like I said, I mean, he was doing 400 plus deals in the height of the market, consistently doing above 300 deals. Step more into a coach owner perspective for the company's sake. And right now, I mean, our per agent production's huge. So, I mean, we're not the biggest company, but I mean, we're well over 20. We might even be close to the 31 deals per agent with the company, which is
per person productivity.
Yes.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's pretty good. And we have probably 5 agents in the company that are going to do 100, 125 plus this year. Wow. So, I mean, we have some good agents as well.
I want to go back real fast because you mentioned that you were in car sales. I was too, right before I got into real estate.
Really?
So, yeah. I actually worked for Nissan. I don't know.
So did I.
You did?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I went in, and I don't know about you, but I just couldn't. The hours and the compensation didn't add up. So walk me through that. So you were in car sales. How did that happen? Because I know that there was some practical things that you did from going to car sales to selling real estate.
Yeah, so I mean, with the car sales, I ended up, my wife got pregnant getting out of college. We weren't married yet, so I was thrown into reality really fast. So with that, I had to get a job immediately. The only thing hiring immediately were car sales. And so I was like, I guess I'm going to go into car sales. So I learned a lot there. I actually had a pretty good mentor while I was there, a GM who was a strong closer. So learned that, already learned how to go up to people, approach them out of nothing and try to turn something into it. So I think it was a great experience. I mean, that's one of the things that helped me hit the ground running. So when I got into real estate, I was already kind of adept to the cold call. I was already kind of introduced to that.
So that's huge because there's something to learn there, right? A lot of us are so scared of going and trying what you did. How much did you learn? I know you touched on it a little bit, but for the listeners, how much did you learn in that cold sale position?
So much about just building rapport, asking questions, getting a commitment. I mean, there was just so much there that really helped me out. So when I got to real estate, I mean, it was great. The one thing I hated was, again, I was selling a product. Sometimes people didn't like the product, but they liked me. So that was always hard when they're like, oh, we're going with this other product. So I was like, man, what can I get into where I'm selling me? Because I'm doing a pretty good job of selling myself. So real estate was the obvious choice.
So you learn how to sell yourself.
Yep, exactly.
That's huge.
And I think that's all we're doing. I think we're all salesmen, whether you want to admit it or not. I mean, we are all salespeople.
Right.
So, I mean, I think if you can sell yourself, you'll be doing really well.
It's so funny you say it. We all know Grant Cardone, and he has that
Yeah.
sell or be sold, right?
Right.
It's life. My wife and I were at Disneyland on Wednesday, and we walk into the park, and I go, okay, don't get mad. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, sell or be sold. And I go, we're either going to wait in those 2-hour lines, or we're not going to wait in those 2-hour lines. And so, like, I got us to the front of the line every single time. But you're right. It's either they sell us on a reason why you got to wait on the line, or you sell yourself on a reason why.
100%. And most of the time, I mean, they're just objections, not conditions. So, I mean, all you have to do is learn how to handle these objections. They're smoke screens. That's why I always tell the agents here. You just got to get through the smoke screens until you hit a condition or until you sell them. Because, I mean, you can't overcome a condition, but most of what people are stopping early on, they're all smoke screens, they're all objections.
I love that. Okay, so you're 3 years into the business?
Yes, this will be my third full year in the
Third full year in the business. And how many transactions will you close this year?
I'll do 185 this year, with 180 of them being on the listing side. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, 185 at 26 years old.
Right. And I would say 180 of them will be on the listing side. The only buyer deals I'm doing are buyer deals where I sold their listing and they're buying something else from me. I'm not working one other buyer lead other than that. Right.
That is awesome, my man. That's awesome. So,
okay,
so your first year, how many deals did you do?
I did 42, I think. 41, 42 first year.
41, 42 deals first year. Second year?
87, close to 87. Yeah, I think it was either 86, 87.
How did you go from that to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Prospecting. I mean, it's all about prospecting. It's the most boring thing. I always tell people I'm an overpaid telemarketer. 100% I'm on the phones 24/7. So I prospect 7 days a week. I prospect every single day, 8 to 11, other than Sundays. On Sunday, I prospect from 4 to 7 in the afternoon. So, I mean, I'm constantly on the phone. And then in the afternoons on Monday through Friday, I'm on the phone. If I don't have an appointment, I'm on the phone from 3 to 7. So I'm constantly on the phone. I'm constantly making contacts, and I'm having good quality conversations, because that's the one thing that we're really trying to help the agents in the office with, and the ones that are coming along, is having good quality conversations, short, to the point, qualifying, putting them in your follow-up, building a database is big, and that's really starting to pay off for me. I think next year is going to be a huge year as far as my database is concerned. But again, it's keeping it simple. It's going through the process of making phone calls, and then you can get fancy as you grow, or a little bit fancier and fancier and fancier. But I mean, out of those, 100% of my business this year comes from prospecting. 100%.
And first year, second year was 100% from prospecting.
Right.
How many contacts were you making on a daily basis with your first and second year?
My first year, I was making like 86 a day. Yeah, it was big.
86 a day.
It was big. So a lot of my market, though, let me just preface, because I want to make sure, because a lot of people are making 10 to 15 a day, and they're calling a lot, and they're like, how is that possible? A lot of my market are retirees. A lot of them are second homeowners. Against that, I found some pretty good resources to find cell phone numbers as well. So, I mean, I'm beating up a lot of different numbers on these people as well. So I'm only counting phone calls, not texts or anything.
And another thing that I know just from you, and I won't give away all your secrets here, but
give them away.
Now, okay, awesome. So you don't just go to one source. I mean, you hunt these people down, right?
More than that, yeah, man. I feel like I'm an investigator sometimes.
Talk to me about that. Talk to the audience about that, because I talk about that and people are like, stalker, and I'm like, no, you guys don't get it. So how's the mindset there?
Man, it's stalker mindset. I mean, it is what it is. I accept it. I'm stalking these people.
I love it.
But at the same time, I'm getting into the office every day at 6:30. I know that you're the same way. We wake up early. We go to the gym. A lot of people do meditation or business planning. I hit straight to the office, and I'm looking up all withdrawns, expireds. I'm using multiple sources. I'm using Yellow Pages, White Pages, Spokio, a couple other websites, Vulcan 7, Redex. I'm using all of these numbers, and then I have a couple data pullers outside of our market on the West Coast who are feeding us numbers as well. So, I mean, I'm pulling them from 8, 9 different sources every single morning.
So you're not
the expires and the withdrawns.
You're not just walking in, pulling up one system, hitting the start button, and just kind of
I can't even imagine that. And there's so many people in the office who do that. And I mean, Vulcan 7's great. Redex is great. They do a good job, I guess. But if you really, really want to be good at the withdrawn, if you want to be good at the expired and really take over that market, you have to be able to get more numbers. You have to get the numbers nobody else are getting, because that's the only way that you're really going to dominate, because you have the one number that nobody else has. So you got a hold of the ant who has the owner's number. So then the ant gives you his number. And so, I mean, you're the only person with it. So, I mean, whatever you
hit it off with the aunt. The aunt calls the grandson, super excited about the conversation. I love that.
And then you find them on Facebook, you find them on Instagram, you add them on there, you send them some good content, you post some good stuff on your social media, so when they check out your page, they see that. Right. I mean, there's a big ball game behind it, but we're just trying to make it a very efficient system. I'm just trying to increase that 100%.
So walk us through your schedule, if you wouldn't mind, because I know a lot of people are hearing 85 contacts there. How do you fit that into your day? What does your day look like? And walk us through even the preparation on hours.
For sure. So now the 85 doesn't happen as much. I'm making more quality contacts. I have a lot more follow-up. My database, I have a follow-up book, and I know I texted that out to the group the other day. My January follow-up book was huge. I'm looking towards that. So, I mean, it's something where I'm not hitting those numbers as much unless we're doing competitions with you guys or other people around the country that I'm going to just hone back in. But I'm definitely making 50, 60 plus a day. So when I get there, I do my expireds in the morning, 8 to 8:15. I hit out the new expireds, and then I'll go for the week previous from probably 8:15 to 8:45. I'm hitting that up, hitting the new ones again, probably from 8:45 to 9:30. So I mean, I'm gonna shoot you straight that I'm calling the new expireds and the old expireds. If you've been expired for 7 days and I haven't got you on the phone, I probably called you 85, 90 times. I tracked it for 1 week and I talked to them, or I tried 85 different attempts, and I'm trying from a lot of different sources. One really cool thing that I haven't even shared with you for our market, which is big, there's an app called Twilio where you can buy different area codes and then you can call them from your cell phone with these different area codes. So, I mean, I'm not calling them from all the same numbers. I'll use my cell phone, my assistant's cell phone, my office line. I'll go on Twilio and try to match their area code. So I'm calling from their area code. So, I mean, I'm really trying to hit them as many times as possible. In my opinion, these expires, these withdrawals still want to sell. They're just looking for somebody who Are you there?
Yeah, there we go. You're good. You're good. Keep going.
Perfect. Is it me? Hold on. Okay, perfect. So on that standpoint, we're hitting them up that time in the morning from 9 to 9:30 or 9:15, 9:45. I'm hitting up for sell by owners. I'm doing a lot of for sell by owner contacts. Okay. I'm not doing and then I'm doing some cold calling still. I'm cold calling some buildings who are extremely hot, condo buildings, some residential buildings, and doing small amounts of follow up from 10:30 to 11 just on recently expired. That way, because they're getting calls from 10, 15 plus agents. So I want to make sure I'm getting to them in the early. But if you start taking a look at my schedule, everything that I'm doing between 8 and 11 is income generating. I'm not doing any income servicing. I'm not presenting offers. I'm not checking my email. I'm not scheduling an inspection report. I'm doing zero of that. I'm generating
Instagram.
Business. Yeah, nothing. Generating business. Me and 2 phones. Period. That's all I have. So, I mean, that's the main thing.
You're hand dialing, right?
Yes, 2 phones. I double dial every morning. I was on the Mojo for a little bit. I just didn't like it as much. So I switched back over to hand dial. So then at 11, when I get done calling at 11, so every day 8 to 11, I'll handle any fires that I have for my assistants, any offers that need to be presented or any big things. I'm doing that from maybe 11 to 11:30. My assistants are pretty good, so I really don't have to worry about too many of those. Take a nice lunch for an hour, then I got appointments, and I'm back on the phone in the afternoons doing the same things. Hitting the expires, hitting the withdrawals, hitting all the previous ones, all my follow-up for sell by owners. So, I mean, it's just call.
All day. And so 9 to 11, all lead generating, all bringing in the business.
8 to 11, yeah.
8 to 11. And then what hours are you spending working in, like answering emails and dealing with files? How many hours are you doing?
Hardly any, just because I have 2 assistants. So, I mean, I have them 100% on my emails. I've just delegated it out. Unless it's somebody saying, hey, I'm thinking about listing my property. But if it's something like that or something I need to respond to, I just have a file on my desk that they'll just put in sporadically throughout the day. So I'll just check that file at like 11 o'clock. I'll check it at 1. Then I'll be available in the afternoons usually. So, I mean, they'll just let me know on that. So, I mean, I'm not involved with any of that. I mean, we have to realize we're income generating machines. We gotta be generating. If we're servicing, we're just taking over somebody else's responsibility. You can pay somebody $8 an hour to answer your emails. For you to do it is a complete waste of time and a waste of money, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, what's that quote? If you're doing the assistant work, you're the assistant.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I feel the exact same way.
Okay, so let's go right back because I really want to dive into that morning routine.
100%.
You don't just walk into the office. You wake up at a predetermined time. You get into the gym. You get your mind ready. Is there anything you do mindset related, goal related, affirmation related?
Yeah, so affirmation related, me and Ty, TYLG. Right. We get on the phones every morning. I guess it's 4:45 his time. We get on the phones and we roll through our affirmations. And I love doing that, just 15 minutes beforehand, just to get your mind strong. But at the same time, like, I'm focused. I'm 100% focused on what my goal is, and there hasn't been a day, at least this year, where I've woken up being like, "Man, I really don't want to do this," and like I'm not pumped about doing this, just because the amount of money we can make for just making a phone call is ridiculous, and the lifestyle we're able to provide our families and whatever your other whys or goals are is huge. So I mean, I realize that every day when I wake up, I'm thankful to wake up, and then I'm ready to hit the phone. So I mean, goal wise, I just want to kick as much ass as I can.
I look one direction. Go.
100%. I mean, that's the way you have to be if you want to hit some big numbers. And I mean, there's a lot of different ways I think that you can make money and do deals and get leads and get listings. But this is the most profitable way, and it's the most predictable way. Because I mean, when the downturn comes, and which is inevitably going to happen at some point during most of our careers, I mean, you have to be prepared. And if you're just making phone calls, you don't have to worry about $15,000, $20,000 Zillow budget or a $10,000 mailer budget or everything else. It's nice to add once you start doing some good business, because you can start optimizing the other end and get money just coming in listings. But you have to really focus on the prospecting to get the big business.
And that's so big. I want to talk about that for a quick second. We're seeing a lot of millennials, and I'm sure you're seeing this. So a lot of younger kids, they're going out there and they think that it's real simple. That, there's these get rich overnight things. I can get my real estate license. I buy this Zillow program and I'll do 100 deals. Let's talk about okay. And if it does work, how short term that is, and how long term wise, if the market does change, you won't survive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can work if you spend enough money, but then it jumps back into what's your profitability. Like, it's nice to be the guy saying, "Hey, I'm doing 200 deals in my second year," but then they start calculating their costs, and you realize that guy's only making $40,000, $50,000 at the end of the day doing all this. So it's nice to be able to keep the biggest portion of the pie. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's why I love the end of prospecting, and nothing's going to beat it as far as profitability. So I mean, I think sending out mailers is great. I think Zillow, you can get deals off Zillow too. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but if you want to be profitable, if you want to make money and build wealth, it's got to be prospecting. There's nothing else, and prospecting's many different ways. So maybe you hate phone calls, but you just want to door knock. So I mean, you can door knock. I mean, there's a million different ways that you can do prospecting. It's just talking to people.
So spot on. And I think people get caught up. They think prospecting expires, prospecting for sale by owners. And I talk about this all the time. It's not, you're not, prospecting is walking into we have a hospital across the street, walking into the hospital and meeting the receptionist, meeting the different, you know what I mean? At the beginning, selling yourself.
For sure. Meeting the person who hires the new doctors that come in from out of state and getting her contact info and giving her value. That way you're getting those leads. I mean, that's an awesome opportunity there, having that hospital there. So, I mean, I completely agree with you. Too many people are scared of that. But at the same time, if you just get over that change your mindset, you'll change your results.
100%.
So, I mean, just change your mindset on it.
How did you change your mindset? Because I
never had it. And that's the craziest. I wish I could answer that. I just never had the obstacle to get over. I just made the connection. So when I came into the office, one thing that we did as a company is I had to shadow a few different agents before I could even get on the phones. So I'm over here shadowing somebody who's making $600,000-$700,000 a year, selling whatever 80 to 100 properties a year. And then I'm shadowing somebody who's selling 200 properties a year. And I'm saying, all you're doing is making phone calls. Okay, that works. I can do that. I can make these phone calls. So I mean, from the bat, it just really clicked with me.
So what I heard is that you exposed your mind to something bigger than what most people see.
100%.
And how crucial is that environment to the longevity of what you've built?
I think you have to see it to believe it. So, I mean, I saw it. I saw their results. I saw it was transparent. It wasn't just, you know what I mean, a bunch of BS coming through. These people were making a lot of phone calls. They were mastering repetitious boredom. Period. That's all they're doing. They're mastering the most boring thing you can do is sitting in front of a phone with no computer up, doing absolutely nothing, making these phone calls, and being zoned in for each of these conversations. So, I mean, I think a lot of people, that's the same, they get all zoned out when they get on the phone and they're not even asking the most crucial questions. So for a new person or somebody getting in the business wanting to really grow, I think if you've already conquered, hey, I want to be on the phones and I'm okay with being on the phones and making the calls, it's mastering what to say and being efficient with it. So, I mean, none of my phone calls, unless I'm getting a listing, are going over 45 seconds. Period. I am very fast. I'm very to the point. I'm not trying to be their friend. I'm not trying to ask them about their dog. I'm trying to get a listing. I'm trying to get their business. So, I mean, if I can get it, I'm going to stay on the phone. If I can't, then I'm going to get their email address. I'm going to put them in a database. I'm going to drip on them. I'm going to call them through my database campaign and do all these other things that we're doing.
Right.
But, I mean, I'm not going to stay on the phone for 5 minutes and waste my time when I can be on to the next.
Dude,
that's just generate.
There was golden nuggets all throughout that statement, so I hope you guys wrote all those down. That's good, man. That's good. Okay, so walk us through. I know that we went first year, second year. We're talking about the schedule. We're talking about your mindset. How did we get to 185? I want to know.
More prospecting. I mean, it's so funny to say, but literally, I'm not doing anything but next year I am. So next year I've already expanded on some goal things I need to do to get to 300 because next year is my 300 year. I'm going to do 300 deals. So to do that, there's only so many hours I can be prospecting, and I don't want to build a 50-person team and then lose all my profitability all over again. It makes no sense for me. So, I mean, I want to be as profitable as I can, so I'm adding some other pillars into my business. But the main thing is this. I have just continued to make phone calls every single day. People who are thinking about selling in the spring, I'm calling them in the winter, setting them up for the spring. I'm calling them before the spring just to make sure we're still on for the spring. Then I'm calling them in the spring again to list them. So, I mean, I'm keeping up with these people on a daily basis. I mean, per day, I probably have 25 follow-up calls to make.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, that just keeps rolling. It's the snowball effect.
Right.
I mean, I'm just continuing to make phone calls. I haven't gotten fancy. And again, I attribute this to Greg Harrelson, who's the owner and coach of the company, because he keeps us grounded on that. Just don't get fancy. Don't buy into the magic scheme. Just keep building a solid foundation, and you're going to have a solid house.
That's all I'm hearing is you've built such a solid foundation that every year you're just sticking to the plan, hitting the numbers every day, and it's accumulated.
100%, and I think it's just going to keep on going. So, I mean, you just got to keep adding. My database has gotten bigger. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things. Database has gotten bigger. We're using a few different technologies just to keep our database up to date. We're using Real Geeks, which I don't know if you don't know about that.
I love
Real Geeks. We're doing active and sold searches for everybody. So not only are they getting an email that they might not care about, but we're providing really good content. We're keeping them up to date. What properties around them are hitting in the market, are closing, sending them some good messages through that. So, I mean, it's just taking up as much mind share as we can. So, I mean, they see us on Facebook. They see us on Instagram. We're on their email. We're giving them phone calls. We're leaving them voicemails. So we're keeping in touch with all those people as well.
Let's talk about mind share real fast. What do you mean by that?
So taking up as much space in their mind as so when they think about real estate, they can only think about me. They see me everywhere. So it's whether I'm texting them, whether I'm calling them, whether they're getting voicemails, whether they're getting emails, whether they're getting the Real Geek active and soul search. If they're on Facebook and I show up on their sponsored, because the emails I'm taking are the same emails they're logging into Facebook with. So now I can target them on Facebook and the social medias. I'm just all over the place, and that's not costing me any more time. Facebook's really cheap, so it's not really costing me too much more money either. But now it's basically like passive income. These are the come list me calls off the prospecting and calls I made. And they were saying, yeah, I'm just not interested right now. And they're reaching out to me saying, hey, we spoke a few years ago, seen you all over. I see what you've been doing, and I'm impressed. I'm ready to go. So that's the easier conversation as well. That's
so strong. And most companies run that way. Let's think of a computer. Who do we think about? Let's think of a cell phone company. Who do we think about?
Yeah, right? 100%.
That's huge. That's so huge. And for the audience, if you guys can understand what Kevin said there on getting people to relate one item with you and getting that connection. And it's so stim that, I mean, you're getting calls from your first year. You're speaking with people. They're calling you today saying, hey, can you come over and list my property?
100%. And I'm getting questions. I'm getting emails when the email databases drop, all of that. So, I mean, it's nurturing. A lot of people right now are even complaining about the leads that they're getting when they pay Boomtown or these other lead sources. Hey, these really aren't leads. They are leads. You just have to nurture them. So the person who's going to be best at nurturing them is going to win this ball game, and that's what we're trying to do on this side. Is we're trying to have the best structure, the best system of nurturing all these people 5 years away from when they're going to list their house, because they're starting that early. That we're the resource when it gets down to it.
You're like the tortoise and the hare, my man. You're like, yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, because I know we're on Instagram Live. Do we have any questions coming out from the fans? Hold on. He's gonna
no problem. Yeah, happy
to load those up.
But again, I think the most crucial thing. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying the most crucial thing today, though, for anybody starting out is just to master the conversations, master the objection handlers. And I even have a note in front of me. You have to be able to distinguish a condition from an objection. Most people stop on the objection. You cannot stop, or you're just one of the other 50 agents that are calling these people. You have to go through that objection and find the condition. And if there's no condition, then they're going to sell their property. So you just have to blast right through whatever objection that they're giving you.
What do you mean by a condition or objective?
So if they're saying,
objection?
listen, the market's just not right now. The prices just aren't good. I'm just waiting till the spring because nobody's looking for a property around the holidays. Or, yeah, I mean, obviously I couldn't get my price last time, so why would now be any different? Anything like that could really stop you in your tracks. And you're like, oh, okay, well, if I can ever be a resource, just let me know. I hear people give up all the time on those, and you just have to ask a couple questions. Just like if the market's not right now. I'm getting that a lot. People aren't looking for properties in December. Well, that's funny because last week I put 3 properties under contract, all of them pretty similar to your property. So I'm just curious, if I brought you an offer right now, would you accept it? 100% I accept it. Do you have a buyer? I don't know. I haven't seen your property yet. When can I get in there? Today at 2 or today at 4? That way I can see if I do have a buyer for it, we can bring you an offer. You know what I mean? It's jumping through that. And then they're probably going to tell you something else. No way I'm going to let you into my house today. You don't have a buyer. Well, how do you know I don't have a buyer? Let me just come by, and worst case scenario, you waste 10, 15 minutes with an agent who knows this business and is committed to getting you the most amount of money if you do decide to sell your property. And then shut up and let them respond. So, I mean, there's so much on that conversation. Yeah. A lot of times you just got to ask the question and
and most people don't. They ask the question and they go, isn't that what you want? I mean, you do want me to come over and sell your house, don't you? I mean, I can get it sold really fast.
Right. Or how much is your commission? 6%.
Right.
But I can reduce it down a little bit. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 6%, but it's all negotiable. We'll talk about it.
Right.
What are you doing?
6% and be quiet. Yeah.
Right.
So I agree. Silence is key.
Okay, so there was a lot there, but real fast, how did you get so verbally, I don't want, because I know that you naturally have a
salesman vibe. I'll say it, man. I'm a salesman.
But how did you understand what you needed to say for the real estate side?
Right. So it was pretty easy for me. First, you have to make a connection with these people. You want to build some rapport, but more than anything, you just want them to trust you. I just know every conversation I'm about to get on, they have to trust me if I'm going to earn their business, period. So I know that I have to gain some sort of trust. When I was starting, I had nothing to offer. I didn't sell any properties. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. So I built it from a team standpoint of, hey, our company here is one of the highest generating companies. If you do this, whatever I'm trying to build right there. So you have to build that. Between people trying to build rapport forever. So it's just a very fast, hey, you can trust me, I know this market, and then just getting into the issues. I really don't try to play too much around. It's just on the expireds even. I jump right to it. Hey, this is Kevin Mills with Century 21. I just wanted to give you a brief call. Your property came off the market, failed to sell. I'm confident I can get it sold for you. When's the best time for us to meet today? Period. I'm not trying to ask them about their dog or their cat, or I'm not even waiting for them to respond because I don't care. I just want to meet with them to get their property sold. And whatever objection they bring up, I'm going to do my best to handle that objection. Yeah.
Clear, simple, to the point. They either want to sell or they don't want to sell. And you're moving on.
Correct. And why don't you want to sell? And then it's handling why they don't want to sell. Obviously, you wanted to sell 24 hours ago. You were on the market. So obviously, you still want to sell. What changed in the last 24 hours? Between midnight and 8 a.m., what's changed for you? Right. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can really knock those down if you just get really clear.
I'm here, and I said this to the group the other day. Don't fight them. Dance with them. Learn to dance. There's so many people, they go into it and they just, you're like, what are you doing? Like, relax.
Here's what you want to, same thing. I always say you want to outmatch and outlast. So if they start yelling at me, I'm going to start yelling at them as loud as I can too, until they calm down or they hang up. So, I mean, whatever level they're on, I'm going to get on that level.
That's so crucial.
Very soft and very slow, or whether it be very loud and in your face, I'm going to match them, and then I'm going to go one step further than them. So I'm gonna be the last one to yell. What is it?
You have like 6 seconds to get that person to understand if they're gonna stay on the phone with you, and that all goes down to your mirror match. That all goes down to them relating with you.
Right, 100%, and probably even less maybe on expired because the second they answer the phone, they probably want to hang up. So I mean, for me, I make sure that I get out my statement very fast before they can even respond. And sometimes I have the wrong number, and they're like, "Oh, dude, you got the wrong number. All right, not a problem. Have a great day." Click. Right. You know what I mean? Then it's on to the next one. But I'm getting out my statement fast. Because if you give them time to interject before they know who you are and have a good feeling about you, they're rejecting you from the start.
Yeah, you're already done.
somebody saying, hey, is this blank? They're rejecting you. You can't ask them that question to start out with.
Right.
They're like, hey, how are you doing today? I'm doing absolutely horrible. You're the 10th person that called me this morning. You can't get them on that. You just have to deliver your message, see how they respond, and then overcome whatever that is.
It's like when you walk into a department store. Can I help you? No.
Yeah, never. Yeah.
Exactly.
Same thing.
You get any questions? Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's go back to the top. Powerful. I don't see any questions on here. Where are they? Just jumped in. Maybe this is a company, but what software? So what CRM are you using, Kevin, to nurture your leads to get those?
So Greg's he's big on Infusionsoft. He wrote out some big Infusionsoft campaigns. That's big. We're using Real Geeks as well. Both companies I'm a huge fan of, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like if you have a database that's that big, then you should definitely be answering that question or should be asking that question. The first step is building a big database. You got to make the contacts. You got to get the emails. Too many people think about that step, and you're not even thinking about, wait, I only got like 20 people right now whose email addresses I have.
Right.
Build the email addresses, and then you can kind of get that answered. And I'm sure you guys over in Terra, you guys have systems in place as well for that. Whatever they might be, different CRMs or different systems, but I know you guys are doing really well on that end as well. So I'm sure you guys have some advice on who you guys are using or who you recommend using. But those are the two that we use, and I'm more than happy with both of them. I think they're both awesome systems.
Okay, appreciate that. And then the only other question that was on there was, do you use a dialer, which you don't? You're all hand dialing.
Yeah, always double dialing. Never using a dialer. I understand the speed part, but I think that I'm a lot faster with my hands than I am clicking through a bunch of things on the internet. Plus, that gives you the distraction of being on the internet. Like, I don't want that distraction of having Facebook one tab away or my computer saying I just got an email at the top right corner. I don't want that. If you have that distraction, your 8 to 11 is not going to be profitable.
So you're not just going through the motions. You're in the zone. Your phones are off. You're not checking your email. You're not talking to your admin. You're not talking to the partner across from you. You're locked in, dialing, focused on what you're doing.
100%. And we have some fun in the office. I mean, if somebody says something crazy on the phone behind us or something, we'll all just look at each other and be like, what the heck are they talking about?
Right,
or whatever happens. I mean, we have some funny stuff, but at the end of the day, that's where I make my money is 8 to 11. And same thing in the afternoon. So, I mean, I'm committed between, if I could work 3 hours a day and earn the living that we're all living right now that are making that step and committing to that process, that's incredible, man. So, I mean, all you have to do is commit 3 hours a day minimum to calling, and you can build a huge business. You just have to commit to the process. You can't try doing it for a month, and if it doesn't work, stop. You just got to keep on doing it. Eventually, it'll pay off.
Do it every single day, no matter what. I didn't
do a deal for so the 41 deals that I did my first year all came in the last 4.5 months. I didn't do any deals, man. I didn't take any buyer leads.
I didn't know that.
I had to build my database. Yeah. I didn't start doing deals. Yeah.
So your first year, you didn't do any deals till like July, August?
Right. Yeah, because I was making the phone calls. I was building the database. I was doing everything like that. I wasn't taking any buyer leads.
And so from July, so 6-month period, you did
40 deals.
40 deals.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was accumulation, but still.
Correct.
So you guys.
And I didn't know one person in my market just starting this. I knew 0 people in this market when I started. 0.
No friends,
no friends, no family. I moved my wife got pregnant, so I had to move to Myrtle Beach. Never been to Myrtle Beach. She wanted to be around her family. So I moved here knowing absolutely nobody and just got started. So I just started making phone calls.
I'm so inspired, my man. That's so good. That's so good. Now, I really want to talk about that, how you push through those first 6 months, because the average person, especially nowadays, because there's none of that grit, they give up. How did you get through that?
I think it's surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like. Surrounding yourself with people who are doing what you're doing or started doing what you're doing now that you admire. Because, I mean, it got to a point, I think the first 3 months, I had 0 money. I thought I had enough money to last me until I started doing deals. 0 money. I had to beg from my parents for money. They didn't have too much money. So then I had to cash in a life insurance policy my mom's been paying on since I was born. That's how strenuous it got for me. And then July came, and then August and September, and I'm starting to close. I'm like, all right, well, now this is starting to gain traction. Then the next year I do 80-something transactions, and then this year I'm doing this. It's just keep on doing it and believing in the process. But you have to, in my opinion, it was crucial to have people in my office environment who were doing what I was doing, and they were having a large amount of success because they just kept making phone calls and kept doing what we're doing, kept saying the same thing. So, I mean, obviously, if I didn't have that in my office, I don't know. If I didn't have a coach like the one I have, I don't know where it'd be. But, I mean, I thank the office environment for that, and surrounding myself with people just like you and other people around the country that I'm friends with in the real estate world that have done well. Surrounding myself with them and seeing what they're doing and what they're committing to.
I love that, bro. It all back down to who you're surrounding yourself with.
100%.
And if you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people, that 6 months probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I try to be the worst person in my friend group. Period. I try to be like the one that they're like, why are we hanging out with this kid? Like,
right.
Everybody else could be hanging. I want to be that guy. If I'm that guy, then I'm in a great group.
I'm the same way. They're always looking at me like, who is this little short Mexican kid? And I'm like, hey, I'm Adrian Hernandez. It's
yeah, nice to meet you. Teach me what you know.
We have to be, again, selling yourself. So I love that, my man.
And at some point, I want to get back to that, and I want to be one of the top groups and help them go. So he's giving back as well.
Right, and that's why I wanted to do this, because I really know a lot of younger agents that give up. They give up their third month, their fourth month, and then they come back to me and they're like, how do I get through it? And so I figure what better person to learn from than someone that yourself, you've made a 100%. Huge sacrifice, obviously getting to where you're at. You're creating a great business. You've created a great foundation. And the biggest thing I heard you say at the beginning is you did not get fancy with anything. You kept it real simple, and now you're starting to integrate different things. But for the most part, it was just the basics, right?
Right. But you don't see the things I'm integrating. I hired an implementer who I just hired yesterday who's going to be handling all the more fancy stuff. I'm not doing that. I'm a prospector, man. That's what I do. I prospect. So, I mean, it's not stopping what you're good at and what got you there either. You hire somebody else to lead you there. I'm a prospector. We're going to prospect. I'm going to keep making phone calls until I decide to do something else in my life, and I don't know if that'll ever happen. But you have to keep doing what you're good at. I think a lot of it, and you're big into Gary Vee as well, I know, you got to be self-aware. I know exactly what I'm good at, and I know exactly what I'm bad at, and I'm good at prospecting. 100%.
And you stick to that. You stick to your strengths. You delegate your weaknesses.
Everything else. I only prospect basically in my business. And really, I'm hiring somebody and start negotiating a lot of my transactions as well. Because, I mean, negotiations is something that I'm not generating anymore. I'm servicing still. Even though that is turning into a closing, that's a servicing task, not generation. So I want to get my business to the point where I'm only generating, but I'm also taking advantage of all the other tools you can use out there once you start incorporating the Zillows and the Realtor.coms and the Trulias and the Facebook and everything else that you could possibly do out there just to build you up on the outskirts. But you have to focus on the prospecting end first.
Back to the foundation. Do you have any questions at all? He mostly dials expires, cancels, and withdraws. Do you call any absentee owners?
So a lot of my market is absentee owners. So we have a lot of condos here at the beach. So a lot of these people that are withdrawn, expired, canceled are out of state owners. So we have all the building lists for every single condo building we have down here. We have all of our lists pretty neat and organized in all of our in all of our Mojo systems as well. So people can call those as well. So yeah, I'm calling a lot of condos. That's the majority of my business is condos. So I do a lot of out-of-state owners with those. You don't have to go to the properties as much. You don't have to do as much servicing, so you can really just have a high turnover with those. So yeah, all I did was cold calling. Greg wouldn't even let me dial expireds or withdrawals. Right. I had to earn it.
So you just called what at the beginning?
Cold call.
Absentee owners, just listed, just sold, just sold. That's all I did. Just sold. That's good.
I mean, I was doing 100. Man, I was doing close to 100 contacts a day for the first year. Every day.
100 contacts a day, just sold until you mastered the conversation, and then you went to expired.
Right.
That's so huge. And it's so huge because we go straight to the expired. And what happens?
Right.
Out.
100%. 100%. And that's why people get so beat up and quit the business. And you're going to get beat up on the just listed, just sold too. Not as much. And you don't have to worry about 50,000 people calling them.
Right.
But that's where you get your quality. That's the database. That's the come list me business. That's the ones where 50 people aren't competing for that one listing. Those are the ones that are going to be reaching out to you. You don't have to worry about having to overprice this property to get the listing or dealing with a commission cut or anything like that. They're coming out to you because you called them and you've been dripping on them and nurturing them. So that's huge. I agree.
I love that. I love that. Mail new. You do some mails, right? Like mailing.
I'm starting to do mailing. Yeah, I actually haven't done any, but we're starting to do some community domination mailers. We're just taking over a community, sending out mailers every month, like really informative mailers, and just trying to dominate a community. But no, I haven't. 0 deals this year from doing a mailer. Yeah.
All prospecting. I love that. Manny from I think you've met Manny from our Rancho Cucamonga office asked, how did you stay in momentum once you got the ball rolling? Like you're obviously doing deals. How did you continue to push forward?
I became friends with people who were a lot more well off than I was, who were working a lot harder than I was. Or I mean, I even say being friends, but I mean, Google some people. Look at Jeff Bezos or some of these other guys. Look at some of these top guys who are billionaires still hustling. It's like, man, how can I quit or how can I not be complacent? You have to think, man, and this is one thing that I just don't have in me. I've never been complacent with my business. But I mean, I would say in today's world, you need at least 10, 15, $20 million in the bank to be able to retire comfortably at some point. Possibly even more depending on your lifestyle. You probably are nowhere near that number. So I mean, until you get somewhere close to that number, I can't even imagine being complacent. So I mean, and again, it's all about why you're doing this, what your goal is. So I mean, I think that maybe you need to be a little bit clearer on that. But also, if you're a young guy, is he a young guy? I think he is.
Yeah. Manny's only.
And you got to be thinking towards your retirement. What's the end game look like? You don't want to be 60 years old prospecting still because you can't afford the lease on your Porsche sitting outside. You know what I mean? And that's probably where you're at right now. I mean, I doubt that you have a couple years of income saved under your belt or some income coming in, some passive income. So, I mean, just focus on the end of the day, what the goal is, what you want your life looking like when you're 60 sitting outside on a porch swing. You know what I mean? And see what you have to do now to get there.
That's good. That got me thinking.
Yeah, are you complacent? You get complacent?
No.
You're like big complacent. Like, I have some days that maybe I don't want to work. Maybe you're like a day where I'm like, man, it's hard today. But I mean, I'm not in like a mindset of, man, I can go without some money.
Well, and I think it all goes back down to the people you surround yourselves with. Ty will text me, hey, man up, like quit being a bitch, straight up. And it's like, okay, you can't be complacent when you're around those type of people.
Right. My friends work 7 days a week.
Right.
Like, what can I do? If I want to hang out with them, I need to work 7 days a week. Or they're like, why should I hang out with this guy? My friends work constantly. I was in a mastermind group last night, 7:30 at night, after we were done prospecting, going through this stuff all over again. Yep. So, I mean, it's something where you got to surround yourself with committed people. It's only going to make you better, 100%. Right. You're never going to be at the end of your life wishing that you wouldn't have worked as hard as you did.
Wow. Or get to the end of your life and realize that you did amp me up to your true potential.
100%, and nobody's going to, I don't think.
Right.
But
well, I mean, not 100%, but at least
but like, it would suck being at the end of your life and knowing you left a lot on the table. You know what I mean? Left a whole lot on the table compared to I'm leaving my family with a lot of wealth, and I mean that's going to be a great feeling.
Yep. Well, they say the graveyard is full of a bunch of ideas, wasted ideas.
Yeah. That's some scary stuff right there.
Yeah, it is, my man. It is. So, Manny, hope that helped you. How does he go about lead follow-up? So Christian asked, how do you go about your lead follow-up? And in essence, real fast, just you hound them.
Yeah. So I mean, I bust people's butts on the phone, man. I'll call them a million times. But as far as my organizational system, because that might be what he's kind of referring to. So if somebody says, listen, hey, not interested now, maybe interested in 2 months, I have a book. It's a calendar book that I'll write down their last name, their address, and their phone number. And I have a ton per day. So maybe if they say I'm not interested now, maybe in 2 months, I've tried everything I can. They're not budging. It's going to be a 2 month. Then I'll try maybe in another 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I always cut that in half. And nowadays with as high as the market is and as many agents that are calling, at least in my market, I'm having to cut that in a third. So I mean, instead of 2 months, I'm calling in like 3 weeks instead of in like a month, just because people are hounding these people so much. So then I put them on the calendar for that day. I put their last name, I put the property address, I put their phone number, and I know every single person that's in my follow-up book. The only reason I'm calling them is to get their property sold. So I don't need to know any more information of, hey, I'm giving you a call because I want to get your property sold. When are we going to do some business?
Right.
It's having that same follow-up conversation, right to the point.
Right to the point. But staying in them is what is the sauce. It's
100%.
And so when they
that
get
only
caught,
takes a couple of seconds, man. Like I over follow up because that phone call only takes me like 30 seconds of, hey, just touching base. No, we spoke a few weeks ago. Told me to reach out to you this month. Kevin, no, actually I said reach out next month. Not a problem. I definitely don't want to disturb you. Is next month still the best time for you? Yeah, reach out next month. Perfect. I really appreciate your time. Is there any information I can send you now while I have you, just so you can make the best decision next month when we speak? No, I'm good. All right, sounds good. I'll talk to you in a month. 2 weeks later, hey, no, we spoke a few weeks back. You know what I mean? It's just that only takes a 30-second conversation, and you're still in their mind.
And when they're hot and they're looking to sell next week, you're calling them every single day, multiple times.
Calling them every single day. Yeah.
How many times a day?
Till they answer.
Yeah. So, okay, I don't answer, right? I'm a hot prospect. Yeah. I'm looking to sell. I don't answer.
Have your cell phone? Then I'm probably texting you. If you don't answer my text, I'm going to call you from a different phone call. And then I'm going to call you after 5, just because most people get off of work at 5 and I realize that. So then I'm going to text you after 5 if you don't answer my first text. And then I'm going to call you from my office phone at like 7 when I roll out of here. And I'm not going to leave a message on any of those unless I call you from my cell phone. If I call you from my cell phone, I'll leave a message. But the rest of the phones, I'm not going to leave you a message on.
Learn something there? I have a newer agent, JP, right next to me. He's filming it, so
awesome.
He's shaking his head like yes, because he's the same. He's the same. Yeah, he's the same way. And no, that's awesome, my man. That's awesome. Do you door knock?
Nope, I don't. It's just not. Nobody does it in this market. Maybe we should. But again, I love the phones. I like being on the phones just really consistently. I think I can reach a lot more people on the phones than I can going door to door. I do think it's a good way to prospect. We know Alex Lair up in California, and Alex's son goes around on segways and door knocks. So, I mean, for some markets, I think it's definitely useful. But for mine, it's definitely the better way, in my opinion, is just phone prospecting 24/7.
Right. I love that. So Kevin and I are in a mastermind group with a few different top producers throughout. I mean, I would literally say, throughout the world. Because Kev, you're out in Myrtle Beach. You have Joe D out of Vegas, and then Alex Lair up north, Ty up north, and those guys. And it all goes back down to, and I really want you younger kids to really focus in on this and hone in on this and write this down. You have to upgrade your peer group. You have to upgrade your peer group. I thought I was doing good. And then I met Kevin and I'm like, shit, I really got to get going. Like, it's applying that friendly, I think of it as like friendly fire, right? It's all friendly fire. We're all pushing each other to grow. But if you got somebody doing one deal, another person doing one deal, and you're trying to do 20 deals, the likelihood of that happening,
It's impossible. And I think the main thing is a lot of those people who are listening to you right now are saying, yeah, man, but like, how am I going to get in these mastermind groups? Like, you don't want to be in a group with me. You got to earn it through your work ethic. Like, believe me, you can get in my mastermind group if you work your butt off. Even if you don't do any deals or you only do a couple of deals a year, if you're saying, listen, I'm committed, I'm going to work 7 days a week, I'm going to push you guys, I'm going to contribute, I'm going to work hard. Dude, everybody will want you in their group because even the top groups have a lot of complacent people in them still. So, I mean, if you jump in and just say, listen, I know I haven't done the business, but I'm going to outwork all you guys. And I'm going to deliver a lot of content to this. I'm going to give a lot of information that I'm learning. I'm not just going to take. Dude, you're going to get right in. But if you just jump in trying to get, and you're not going to deliver anything or give any value, you're right. Nobody is going to want to be in a group with you.
100%. And I remember Joe DiRaffaele, I was pushing him to coach me. I was like on him and on him. And it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. It's selling yourself. I went up to him like 6 times in the course of 2 days at the Superstar Retreat. And finally, he's like, all right, this is the 6th time. Send me an email, follow up with me Monday at 2, and then we'll talk. I literally 2 o'clock, actually 1:59, I'm dialing his phone number. And he goes, 2 o'clock, all right, I'll send you a contract. And I'm like, because but most people wouldn't.
And you could have shot away and be like, man, that guy, I don't like that guy. You know what I mean? But you saw the value and you knew you had to prove yourself. They're the exact same way.
I love that, man. It all goes back down to that peer group, keeping that in. But then if anything, you're so consistent, my man.
That's the main thing is consistency. More than anything is, again, it's mastering the repetitious boredom, man. I'm just making phone calls every day.
So I'm not too sure if you're in this or not, Kev, but we got a question saying, do you use social media? Do you see it playing a big role in the future? Do you see it playing a big role in real estate industry?
So I would say beware of all these social media companies out there trying to take all your money to run all this advertising and do all this other stuff. That's the first thing. If I was going to really, first off, if you're not really committing to prospecting and doing big business prospecting, then no, you shouldn't even worry about the social media aspect of it. Right. You should get on the phones and you should prospect because it's free and you can get more reliable and duplicatable business that way. But if you're to a point where you're doing a good amount of business and you think that you're losing business from all these other sources, then yeah, I think you should learn something about it. I think you should create a good profile that delivers a lot of good information. And even sellers are Googling you now. Sellers are all over the place trying to figure out who you are. So it's not going to be bad to have a great Facebook page and do some social media things to list your properties and sell your properties and everything else. Just don't get so caught up in it that you quit prospecting to do it. But I think that, yes, there's going to be deals to be won on that. I think that you can definitely get business. I think sellers are going to be looking you up on these platforms to see what you're like and what you're posting. If you would advertise their property, if you're helping sellers, if you have ratings, all this other things. But if you give up prospecting, then I think you're ultimately going to lose. But if you add that to it or hire somebody that knows what they're doing and you do a lot of research and not just hire the first company that's going to charge you $1,000 a month to take over your social media and you're banking on that to just pay your bills, I think you're in a losing proposition. So that's the way I feel about it. That's and yes, I am starting to do some social media stuff.
A great answer. I love that. Right on. And then with the whole custom audience, that also comes back to the mind share too with the whole social media.
That's huge, man. That's huge that you can do that. I mean, we can literally throw our entire database into social media and be plugging away at just our database. So it's the people that already know me and already get my emails are the ones that are seeing me. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of cool stuff you can do, but remember, it starts with building the database. That's the only reason that it works. That's the reason that it's going to be so awesome is because I already have the database that I can get on. So, I mean, that's a big part.
All right, man. We're getting towards the end. I don't want to keep you too long. Okay, a couple of last questions. If you could go back down to when you were 19 years old, and you were looking at yourself, you're 26 years old, what would you tell your 19-year-old self?
To really focus on working hard. I think it's so important to really commit to working extremely hard so that you can build a great life around yourself and you get to experiment some great things. One of my whys, I just had to do a business plan for 2018. And what was one of my whys? One of my whys was to continue hanging out with people who are incredibly successful. Because, dude, I love it. I love hanging out with just incredibly successful people who think so far above what I even thought was possible. Like, that's my high, is hanging around with people like that. So, I mean, I would tell myself to just put your head down, stop talking about it, and just start doing it. And I mean, it's just, you see so many people out there hustle and grind and post these photos, and I'm just laughing, man. I mean, it's just, you just need to just shut up on that stuff and just get to work. You know what I mean? People are going to notice if you hustle. People are going to notice if you grind. You ain't got to tell people. Right. So I mean, I would just say put your head down and really start working, master the basics. I mean, you hear Bill Belichick even talk to his football team saying, this is all fundamentals. This is all fundamentals, what we got to master. It's the same thing in real estate. Prospecting is the fundamental. You just got to master that, and you'll be crazy successsul.
I love that. That's good. That's good. All right, and I want to end with something big. We started off with the episode being big. Let's end with something big. What would be the biggest advice you give? And rather that be millennial, it doesn't matter how old you are, the biggest thing you've learned so far throughout this journey that's continuing to grow, what would you tell the audience?
Man, I am so boring. And I hate to just reiterate it. Put everything down in prospect. Phone prospect, call people, ask them the right questions, get the business, keep up with your clients, do reductions once you get the listings, stay in contact with all your clients, and then you can close them, and then you'll get good repeat and referral business. Don't listen to all the fancy things. You'll see this podcast on people saying, I did 500 deals my first year and didn't make one prospecting phone call. But in 3 years, you're never going to hear of them again because they're going to be out of business because they can't afford the $1 million budget on whatever they're paying for. So, I mean, the main thing is getting in front of buyers, getting in front of sellers, whichever way you want to go, having the real estate conversation, being their trusted resource, delivering good information, and giving great customer service. So, I mean, if you do that, I mean, I can say it all I want, but you're going to be so successful. I mean, it's just doing these simple things and not getting fancy.
And so for those that aren't in the real estate era, because we also have a lot of entrepreneurs, what would you tell somebody like just in life?
Don't get fancy. Do whatever the fundamentals are. Whatever the fundamentals in your business are. And still, if you're an entrepreneur, cold call prospecting will still be awesome, no matter what you do. Whether you own a tanning salon or a restaurant or whatever you do, cold calling big businesses or cold calling whoever would be extremely profitable. I tell people all the time, I could sell just about anything now that I know this system. I mean, you put me in front of vacuum cleaners or open side, whatever. I mean, I think that we could do really good just prospecting. So entrepreneurs, just keeping your head down, and stop watching other people with all their big success, because while you're watching, they're doing. So stop watching. So, I mean, Gary Vee even says, like, dude, how do you guys even have time to watch me? That just means you're not doing. So, I mean, just get out there and do and quit watching. Know that there's other people out there a lot more successful that are pounding the pavement hard, and that's what you need to be doing.
I love that. I love that. Right on, Kev. Right on. I really appreciate it. How can people get a hold of you? How can they reach you? Whether that be Facebook, Instagram, and then I know you're in the Myrtle Beach area. So for those that have referrals, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, send them my way. 843-213-8754 is my cell number. Feel free to text me. Could be a couple hours or whatever before I can get back to you. Happy to answer any questions somebody might have. Facebook, I think it's just facebook.com/KevinMillsC21. And my email is kevinmillsteam@email. Probably the best is just email me over at Kevin Mills Team. My assistant will put it on my desk if I can answer any questions. I'm more than happy to for anybody.
Perfect. And for you guys, I'll put Kevin's email down below in the description, so you'll find that in there. Kevin, I really appreciate you, man. I'm going to head. I'm going to go down. I'm looking at my I looked at my calendar this morning. I really want to shoot down there. I want to spend some time with you and Greg. So let's put that in the calendar if you don't mind.
Please do. Yeah. And we're both going to be in San Diego.
That's right.
For that trip in January next month. So, I mean, we'll definitely reconnect there when we see you too.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, you know what? Let's plan it all out there. Maybe we can get Ty to come down and do the whole works.
Be awesome. He was saying the same thing, that he wanted to come down.
That would be perfect. That would be perfect. Well, hey, Kevin, I appreciate you. You guys, I appreciate all of you tuning in. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on the left-hand side of the page. Kevin, man, bro. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Good to see you, brother. Thanks for your time.